Hi, everyone. Welcome back again. Thank you for tuning in. This is the Iconist podcast. One of your hosts here, Barry 3D for Deep Dark Delicious, Barry 3D Carter. And I'm kicking it off with usual, always, my cousin, my best friend, and my co-host, Mr.
DJ Rod C. That's me, people. On my shoulder. I'm getting old. Oh, God.
He getting old. He tried to do a swish instead of a flip, and when he was mixing, and he broke up his wrist. Right? No, okay.
That should.
That's what happened. See, that's what happened when you had to carry, turntables back in the day. You all don't know about that.
You all don't know about that.
Yeah,
you don't know about those crates. Man. Crates. Oh gosh.
Crates. That's right. Everyone had to. That's right. As a DJ, you had to walk in there with, your turntables, speakers, set that up, and then you had to get friends who we put on the guest list to bring crates in for you, and then be there at the beginning of the party to the end of the party, and then help you break down all the equipment, put it back in the car or the van, and then go home.
Listen, I'll tell you right now, as the biggest joke, I know we're going sidestepping for a real second. I still have it downstairs. I have a crate. I have the equivalent of crates are normally about, everybody should know crates are normally the size of, a milk carton, a milk crate, whatever the case may be.
That's right.
That's what that is. I have one big crate. That's the equivalent of maybe 2.5. And what it is, if you go to your hardware store and you have those bins, those beige bins with the green top, like you fold out, like you have it on your patio, like if you were putting the cushions and stuff. So it's you're easily looking at about 4 feet, kind of something full of records. Times I used to take that by myself and just throw that on my shoulder and walk in like a big speaker, like, I'm coming to you. What the hell? Yes, it's records, man. It's records. Just let me in quicker. This is killing my shoulder. Yeah. When I tell people when I have to help me move and they look at us like, that's your records? Yep. You have all your records there? Yeah, sometimes I have to carry it by myself. What the? Yeah. But it's fun now. Anywho, so that's how I tell my shoulder. Anyway, listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're having fun today. This is a special event. We are on the cuff of watching a crazy show that been for me. I've been waiting since the announcements, since I heard this was coming down the pipeline. It's one of those things you're watching a pot boil and you're like, is it ready? Is it ready? Is it ready? Is it like you're waiting for the date to come? Then thank the Lord God Almighty, July 23rd made an appearance. 2021. Technically, it was crazy. Physically, it was crazy. Emotionally, it was crazy. What am I talking about? Ladies and gentlemen, let's go.
Masters of the Universe. Revelation. Holy crap. Oh my. Okay, so before we dive in, right? So first, as always.
We're trying not to. Yep, right, do the normal intros. You do that.
All right, here we go. First shout out. So here we go. We're going to do the rundown. Thank you once again to Jaybird Digital Arts. See his contact at the end. He's the one that gave us the templates, make us look good. Got the intro, we got our names at the bottom, and he's got our logo over there. So if you need any kind of work for virtual, physical, whatever, reach out to our man Jaybird Digital Arts. See his contacts at the end of the video. Give him a shout out. Tell him you heard it, saw it here at the Iconist podcast. Thank you very much. Thank you for supporting the arts and keeping this industry going during these hard times. So everyone's kind of finding new ways to work. Second of all, check out my boy Paul Ash on the Battlecom, which is a nerd game show, and he does an interview show called They Talk Funny, and The Love Doctor, which is hilarious. So he does does it all live on YouTube, Facebook, so you're able to shoot in your questions or comments, answers, all that. So big shout out to him. Jim Aldridge, my man, he runs Back to the Balcony. Look for the microphone on the red background. He's on his second season of doing all that. And if you want to see links to all those, check out my website, barry3d.com. Go to my blog. You'll see all the links there for past episodes of stuff that I'm on. And I got to really give it out to my boys. We're on a little bit of a hiatus right now because it's summer, so everyone wants to enjoy the family. My family's out, so I can get away with this for now. So enjoy the family. And that is A Touch of Gray Matter. We have over 80 videos on our YouTube channel, from funny to serious. We talk about everything. And we also go on tour, and we tour around live anywhere, be it, from cross Canada, getting to across the border at one point for sure, but definitely cross Canada. So look us up, and that's Dave Sokolowski. He's the mastermind behind that, along with Thomas Patrice, Zolf Ali, and myself, Barry 3D Carter. We are a touring group of comedians, and different takes, all beautiful. So look for Touch of Gray. Go down into feature channels, check that out. So you want to give out shout outs to all the fans, people watching, people communicating with us. And remember, go down, and when you see the link for Straw Poll, click on that link, make your selection of who you pick. It's all, anonymous. You don't have to put your name in or nothing like that. And it's all in good fun. So go back and check the past ones we've done, and we're going to be talking about those. And over to my man.
Listen, you can find me all over. Well, all over. I'm somewhere, people. I'm on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram at DJ Rod C. Sorry, that's the other place. And Instagram, you can find me at Mr. Rod C.
Mister.
Right. Twitch, you can find me on twitch.tv/DJ Rod C. As well as Facebook, you definitely find me on my page at DJ Rod C as well. So that's where you can find me. Listen, having fun up online, having fun with people. We're just, having a lot of fun. As you can see, this is when you see me online. Like what you're seeing, this is just a small fraction. I'm just sitting down. I got to stay put. I'm just under the agreement I have with Barry. I have to behave myself. I just got to. It's only the way things must be. I must be proper. But on Twitch, we crazy up in there. We crazy.
Well, we made an agreement with each other. We bring in this prim and proper, but Rod on Twitch and me doing my comedy stuff. Wow.
Yeah, you see, both of us. You know what I'm saying? We're, ladies and gentlemen, you're only seeing a fraction of the madness, of the craziness, of the happiness that we bring to you. You got to see us live. When you see us live, you think I'm crazy? You got to check him out when he crazy. When he crazy on the stage. When he talking craziness. No, that's not Bernie, so don't even try that. I have no idea what I was doing. I don't know what I was doing. But
it's all good, man. It's good times. We don't get good times. I said I'm a dancer, not a singer. So on that note, we are talking about Masters of the Universe Revelations. Right. Wow. No, I've been seeing the comments have been going up. So I just watched all of them yesterday. It was like a 2.5 hour movie. So 6 episodes, half an hour each. Came out, July 23rd. Kevin Smith behind that. It's kind of a wrapping up the whole He-Man and Masters of the Universe storylines that Filmation was doing years ago and filling in that gap. So overall, do I like it? Yes. Did I have a good time watching it? Yes. Am I looking forward to seeing the rest of it? Absolutely. I know there's people out there that don't like it, and I'm sure the purists that are behind He-Man don't like it, and I can understand things. So let me say this before we go any further.
You say your part, Ron. You say your part.
We're talking about this whole show in entirety. If you haven't watched it and you don't want to know spoilers, there will be spoilers. Stop. Jump off. Do not watch this episode. Jump off. You've been warned. If you keep this episode playing, you are agreeing to knowing the spoilers. That is it. This is so.
It's all on you.
Right.
It's all on you.
Pause. Stop. Walk away. Spoilers. It will be heavy spoilers.
It's all on you. Just saying. It's all on you.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, we're done. Right. Okay, cool. Just making sure we're all in the proper time.
That was it. I did my duty. So here we go. So right now, overall, I liked it. As I said, will the purists like this particular show? No, and I can understand the misconception, right? Because the show is called Masters of the Universe, not He-Man. Not He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, right? He-Man is dropped from this, and this really goes with the title. Because is He-Man in it? Sure. Do you see He-Man throughout it? Sure. Is He-Man the focal point? No.
Because like you said, it's not He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. This is now the Masters of the Universe of Revelation. So you got to look at the title and what Kevin Smith is bringing to us. And I'm just sorry, I just got to jump in. You're talking about the purists and about the original run, the Filmation run. Listen. We grew up on that. I'm sure everybody listening who's watching this, who watched this show, who who took the time to watch the 2.5 hours of watching this are people who grew up on it.
Yep.
You got to look it from the standpoint of that time, that it was only made to be quick 22-minute shows. That's all it was. In and out. Very rarely did it have any type of legacy, story leading into another story, into leading another story. It's most of the time it was self isolated per. And they just came in for children to give them some education, have some fun, and bounce out. Try to make some sales and things. So you got to understand that, to me, and I'm just not jumping ahead. Oh, you know what? I'm going to stop. Then I'm going to jump ahead to another part of the old version. But it's like I had a conversation with people coming up, so I didn't even see the show as yet. And I was telling people, I'm jumping right into it. Forget it.
Let's go. Just go.
Back in those days, you know what? People were upset because we had no closure. This is what I'm giving. I'm giving Kevin so much golf claps. Just listen. You're giving us closure. We've had, 30 years of non-closure. We didn't know what happened. The show just done up. They didn't get the ratings they wanted. I can understand as a business aspect. Then, not now, but then, wasn't bringing no money, wasn't even profits. Cut it, let it go.
Yeah.
They're not looking to close anything for kids.
Nope.
Kids wake up one morning and realizing next season we're not here. Cry, get upset, go to another channel. That's how they were looking at it. So it was never built on to be a long-lasting show. I personally didn't think that. Because again, a lot of shows at that time were never made to be that type of long-term. It was always come in, do what I got to do, get out. Do what I got to do, get out. Get my money, get as much money as I can, get some product, get some profit going, and then after, deuces, I'm out.
Yep.
So if you're going to be a purist, you got to look at it from the standpoint that at that time, that was the mindset. You can't think of today's mindset back then, because today's mindset, yes, you would try to at least have a series. And as you can see, everybody's trying to at least have a series that at least at the end of the season, there's some type of closure or taper off. Mm-hmm. Like if the series is going hot and good and it's going to leave it wide open that, okay, next season we got questions going to be answered then. But if it's something brand new coming out like this, you're going to have one that's going to come in and just have that open door that it can go either way. And if it did drop, you can say, well, there's enough that I can say I'll be a little upset, but you can let it go. But that's the mindset now. Back then, that's not how they were doing it. So you got to take that. You got to take that into consideration. So, I mean, sorry, you continue, guys. We'll get into it. Because this is honestly already. We didn't even start episode 1, and this is going to be a long show. Actually, no, it won't be a long show. I'm going to promise you people. I'm promising it's not going to be long. It's not going to be long. I promise.
So overall, as I said, the purists are not going to like it because they're going to want a lot more He-Man into it. I liked it because it was different. I liked it because Kevin Smith gave us closure. I liked it that Kevin Smith brought back a lot of characters that we might have forgotten about over the years. Some of them that were not even big roles that he brought back in and gave them voices and put them in the mythology of Masters Universe. So as you're saying, Rod, the first time they hit with Filmation had a hit on their hands. The toys came out. The original He-Man 64 episode run from Filmation was just a commercial to push the toys. When the toys sales started going down, He-Man was still doing good in the ratings, but when the toys went down, snip, cut. Okay, fast forward. Then they came back with He-Man, a different version where He-Man is like on a different planet and they made him slimmer and all that. That wasn't He-Man. Cut, because those toys didn't sell. Then they came back a few years ago. I say a few years ago. It's been a while back. They came back out with a new He-Man and Masters Universe series, right? And it was a lot of action to it. And I bought the whole thing. And it was going, that series was wicked, because it showed that King Randor and Skeletor were brothers.
Brothers.
Right. Yes. So they started doing that whole run. And when they started doing that run, what happened? Well, the toys aren't doing so well. Cut. But the show was doing so well. Like that show, that's the show that needed an ending because that particular show, they were bringing in Hordak. Their next season, they led up and they dealt with the Snake Men and the origin of Snake Mountain and why Skeletor was there and why it was called Snake Mountain. And then they got up there and they're saying, okay, we're bringing in Hordak, who Skeletor feared because Hordak was his mentor. And bringing in Hordak, they would have brought in She-Ra. But because sales were low, the show had to go.
So
done. Okay. Okay. So Kevin Smith took it on, and I'm all positive for this. I know people are out there and they're not liking it because they didn't like the way it's gone, it's turned out, whatever, because not enough He-Man. But don't worry about it. There's still more to come, and he's got a character. He's got people cast for it. So I like that they've taken aspects from the original show. They've taken aspects from the original She-Ra. They've taken aspects from the new She-Ra cartoon that was on Netflix, right? With the castle and what it's containing. And the opening sequence, episode 1 of Skeletor finally get like really smart and finally made his way inside, Castle Grayskull, and then called out Castle Grayskull what it was.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Castle Grayskull it's not my concern. This is just a shell. All the time I thought the power was Castle Grayskull. No, it's a shell hiding the true power. And the way he got past the sorceress.
Yes. It's listen, it's showing. Okay, we're gonna jump ahead. Well, I'm not gonna jump ahead, but even if you go back to the old one, you can see the amount of time Skeletor has been making the attempt. You gotta say, if he is supposed to be such a ruthless villain, again, in the previous show, in the original show, you gotta have your protagonist, and your lead and your equal enemy and everything like that. So we all know that the hero always has to win. So you gotta make it. You have to make it that the villain is going to lose. And we will always say that, at least I'll say for me, Skeletor was also one of my favorite characters back then too. And it was just the fact that you can see that he could be so menacing, but he was still acting like a buffoon. And you're like thinking, how can you be the leader of this elite force and be such a buffoon? It never made sense. And he always had the fun and making like, he stumbles, he does all the little. He was the
comedy.
That's all it was. He literally was a slapstick comedy. So you now look at this and you open this up, and he's now making the moves to Grayskull. We're now realizing, like, okay, we're in 2021. We're going to give this guy the respect that he deserves. Put some respect in his name, because if you weren't as great as you were, let's be straight. 64 episodes. You should have dead off long time. Someone else, Evelyn, should have taken over your crown, taken over the leadership of the crew, or whatever the case to be. But you to be here that long, you must have been somewhere good. So now we're realizing the tactics and realizing, listen, I got to wear you out, do this. I'm realizing the full story of the power is literally within, below Castle Grayskull. And the man, when he got down there and he started telling about the history and the story, like the power, all the magical powers in the orb and everything, I'm like, wait a minute. So you're really showing me that this man is tactical. He's doing the research to do what he has to do to get into Castle Grayskull. And what's the end goal? This is what I want. And it was I just like, okay, you've now given this man the respect that's on his name. Give him the respect. And I was like, okay. Not to say finally, but finally. You gave this guy, he gave him the chops that he needed. And I was like, okay, good. Skeletor, right off the bat, click, cool. Then we won't even go to who's in the voice for him, because when you start to hear it, you can hear the crackle of someone else.
Of course.
You can hear the crackle. You can hear the one side, and then you can hear something. I'm like, woo! Mark Hamill, God bless your cotton socks for accepting that role.
Wow.
God bless your cotton socks, boy. Oh my goodness.
For a guy that plays such a hero, he plays such great villains. Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker. Everyone knows that. That's it. No, people remember Luke Skywalker more than they remember his other role in Corvette Summer that he did after the first Star Wars movie. Okay,
right. Yep.
Right. So you talking Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, but then he's the voice of the Joker in the animated series, and for years in all the media, he was the Joker's voice. You know,
he can't get away from that. He could never get away from that.
Hey, that's his bread
and
butter.
I'm happy. That's his bread and butter. I'm happy that he took that bread and butter and just parquet it all the way. Parquet that money all the way to the bank. Come on now.
Right. And now he's playing Skeletor. Oh, okay. All right. That works. He gets in Castle Grayskull by using Faker, the
Oh my
fake
gosh.
He-Man,
Yeah.
right away off the bat.
That's what
Boom.
I'm thinking.
Okay.
Thinking.
And it's like, oh, well, because like Skeletor, I know you're wearing a disguise. Oh, you caught me, sorceress. Ah, and she didn't realize that He-Man was Faker. So when He-Man grabs her, and she's like, He-Man, what are you doing? It's like, that's not He-Man, that's Faker. I'm like, well, he lived up to his name because he even fooled the sorceress, who in turn gave He-Man powers. It's like, okay, I knew something was off from the opening of that sequence. Hear me for half a second.
Go on.
I watched that opening sequence. I see He-Man dragging two of Skeletor's minions in tow.
Right.
Okay, and that's not a problem.
No. What is he on?
Why is it
not on Battle? Why is it on not Battle Cat?
Yes.
And that was a part. I'm like, okay, and then I'm literally not to decide to run with you because I'm now trying to remember the metal horse. I remember the metal horse.
He does have a robotic horse.
He does, right?
He does have a robotic horse.
But I can remember on which side it was, and that's what I'm thinking. Okay,
it was a good guy because I remember Man at Arms made that in the original Filmation episodes, right? And he had that robotic horse, so he did have a robotic horse. But at one point, he lets the robotic horse go and be free because he realizes it's taking on the attributes and the mind frame and the feelings as a robotic horse, as a real horse, and he didn't want to be chained up. So he was like, "Go free!" And it's like, "Thank you, Amen." And he went. So fine,
Right.
but that horse does exist. But the fact that he showed up at the very beginning and he's on, I'm like, okay, well, and I'm thinking, did something happen to Cringer? Something, and that's all I'm thinking. Did something happen to Cringer? And then when they showed the scene at the castle, and you see Cringer talking, I'm like, okay, so Cringer's there, but He-Man. Okay, well, I know Cringer doesn't always want to be Battle Cat, but
he never has a choice. I mean, I don't think I could ever recall a time.
Adam never gave him a choice. Adam would always just laugh and say, "Yeah, whatever." Zap.
Right, that's what I was saying. You're with
the time? Yeah, maybe. Zap.
Yeah.
Adam's a dick. Adam all the time would laugh. I just hit him with the bolt of lightning, and zap. You're a Battle Cat now. But he would never complain, right? So that's the beauty of it. And Cringer was played by the voice actor Stephen Root, and I know Stephen Root from News Radio with Phil Hartman and that cast. Joe Rogan. They were all on and he played Jesse James. Hilarious when he does that. I love that role he did. Right. So playing Cringer, and I'm like, this is great. So that opening sequence goes in there, makes it in. The fight starts. Faker gets in there, starts, holding on and working against the sorceress. So, as to your point, Skeletor was being pure genius because he knew he was misdirection. He was distraction. He's like, I'm going to put on an illusion, but she's going to see through my illusion. But if she sees mine, she ain't seeing Faker. Like, that was a double play that he just did right there.
Right.
He did his research. He found out more about the Council of Elders, which they talked about more in the new He-Man, the last He-Man series.
Yes,
which they talked about in the She-Ra Netflix series, the orb and power being under that pyramid.
Yep,
that's there from She-Ra. That's there from the She-Ra Netflix series.
I was okay. I couldn't. I seen it. I know I've seen it somewhere, but I couldn't remember. I thought, okay, it was just interesting design, whatever. But now that you say that, okay, that was right there. Okay.
Season 1, season 2 of She-Ra on Netflix, the current one, right? So they brought that in. I'm like, okay, that's great that you got all these little things in there already. Then they hit Castle Grayskull, and then it all starts hitting the fan. The Munna starts hitting the fan, and they're going at it. And then, of course, the real He-Man shows up. The real Cringer shows up. Man at Arms. Now, let's just get into it. Teela gets promoted finally as the new Man at Arms.
Yep. Listen, and real talk, you gotta look at it that if Man at Arms was the leader and she was basically taking second command, you know what? Yeah, we can let the story sit that she's going to be his second, but at a certain point, if you're gonna do proper age, Man at Arms is going to get older, and he's going to have to at some point either be a general or something where he's not taking the lead point
right.
of that,
right?
And someone's gonna have to come up behind. And so when she got promoted, I was like, yeah, it makes sense. And I didn't even catch the Man at Arms title. And then I realized, okay, we're definitely saying that Man at Arms title is like a James Bond 007 title. It's just a title. It's not Man at Arms, Duncan Man at Arms. It's Duncan, who is also
Man at Arms.
Captain of the Guard, Man at Arms.
Yes.
So that was perfect. That when she got it, it made like, okay, let's grow her up. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Before
exactly.
she was always seen like, like the young, not the young, but like the early 20-year-old, mid 20-year-old.
Right.
Now, okay, let's give her some girth. Let's put a 30 in front of her. Now you're like your 30s kind of scenario. All right, it's time for you to take control.
Yeah,
Okay.
but and that's why I liked the show. The original Filmation show, she was always training and working
Always
hard
training.
towards that goal. She was,
Right.
so she wasn't a damsel in distress. She was always working. She saved Adam more times than not, and then he had to slip away, be He-Man, and come back and save her, but she always was there to save him. And they were best friends, right? In the show, they were best friends growing up in the castle. They were the two closest friends. And she was voiced by Sarah Michelle Gellar, so Buffy the Vampire Slayer has grown up to become Tila.
Yeah. Listen, Buffy was already in training, so now she's basically Buffy at arms. That's what we should call her. Buffy at arms.
Buffy at arms. Right?
Buffy at arms.
Buffy at arms. So good. Happy with this, how it's going so far.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
now, the whole attack breaks out. We got to go and get, defend Castle Grayskull. And even Duncan, instead of him just taking his natural thing, he's like, well, I'm not man at arms anymore. It's up to the man at arms. And Tila's like, okay, this is what we got to do. He just said the castle's getting attacked. This is what we got to do. She takes the sword, mount the troops, do this, da-da-da, da-da-da. She gave her orders within a couple of seconds how to do all this, right? Because she's trained, ready to go. Their forces go to do it,
Yep.
and then you got King Randor, and he never looks at Adam because he thinks Adam's just a slacker.
Yeah.
Like in Breakfast Club, slacker.
Yeah.
Right? So go. So blind, right? So,
And you know what? As a note, I'm very happy that it was said, because I picked that up and like thinking, why do you like, what? It's that could be, that didn't really have to be a written in the story.
Mhm.
It was there for a reason, because there's really no reason for him. You could have just walked down with the sword and promoted it and presented it to Tila. But to say that in a sense, like a demeaning way, kind of like saying, yeah, I wish I could feel to have the honor of being proud of my child. Whatever, I can't remember the exact quote, but something along that line. And I'm like thinking, why do you just diss your son like that? I'm like, okay.
Like, well, that's
There's
pride
a
you're
reason.
seeing there, and I wish one day I have the pride to look at my child that way.
Right. And I'm like, you just said that? I said, okay, there's gonna come a time, a piece of information. We know what that information should be. And I just said, I bet you now they're gonna find out Adam is He-Man, and his face is gonna drop and be like, we'll get to that later, ladies.
Yes. So all that happens, they go off, rush off, and then the mom, just looks back and says, all right, be careful, Adam. Now that tells me back that the mom, right? Queen Marlena, Queen Marlena, she knows, she suspects, heavily suspects, and is sure in her beliefs that Adam is He-Man, that her son is He-Man. Now, she never mentioned anything to the king. If you go back to the original Filmation episodes, you see there's times where she has like a little at that time. Like, there's a couple of episodes where she looks at He-Man and she's made a comment like, oh, you remind me of someone I know.
Right.
And King Randor, oblivious. He just already looks at Adam and is like, oh, disappointment.
That's most hilarious. Yeah.
King Random doesn't look at it anymore. He just looks at him like, oh, he's just, okay. I got to put up with it because he's my son, you know? And it's like, he likes Adam, but he just thinks Adam's a slacker and Adam will never amount to being a leader, a king, or anything like that. And, and he just, and that's it. So what I'm curious about is this show, because we know in the show that they are aware they have a daughter. Right? It was never wiped from their mind. They know that they has a twin sister, Andrea, who's She-Ra, but she's in a different universe. Right? So you never hear mention that her. He knows, okay, she's over there fighting rebellion, and he's proud of her. He's like, do what you got to do. But with Adam, it's just like, so he doesn't see it. Now his mother's intuition, she picks up on certain mannerisms from the time she's seen He-Man to Adam, certain things she said, and this is back from the Filmation episodes. She starts forming a picture, and she's no fool. Right? Keep in mind that she's a queen on Eternia, but on Earth, she's a pilot, and she's from Earth.
Yeah, space pilot.
She's a space pilot. She came from Earth. She's an astronaut and flew from Earth on a spaceship, crash landed on Eternia, got saved, fell in love, and said, "Hey, he's my soulmate. I'm good."
I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna stay here.
So she's no fool. She can fly a spaceship because there was an episode in Filmation, the Filmation episode,
Yes.
where Teela was trying to pull off a move, and then the Queen says, "Oh, you should do it this way," and she's like, "Oh, what would you know about this? No disrespect, Queen." And then I think it was Duncan that turned around, or King Randor, or someone turned around, and was like, "You know she's a pilot, right?" And Teela's like, "What?" And then when she saw the Queen pull off that same move that she was trying to tell her to do, she's like, "How'd you do that?" She's like, "Well, before I was here." And that's when she got into her origin. I was a pilot from Earth. So not everyone is an astronaut. You have to know how to fly a fighter plane.
Thank you.
To upgrade to fly a spaceship, space shuttle, rocket, or whatever. So she knows
Something.
like maneuvers. She's a smart woman.
Yeah.
But she just plays it down and saying, okay, well, this is what my new role is, and I'm happy doing it. But she knows. So she picks up on it. And she doesn't tell. She never confronts Adam about it.
Nope.
You see that she's really worried every time he goes out. It's almost like, if you're a parent and your child is in the army, a police officer, some kind of line of duty that can be dangerous, they have to do it. You respect their choices. You don't show that emotion in front of them to make them even worry because you want their mind on the job, but you still worry on the inside as a parent. And that's what she did. And she didn't even tell King Randor, because I'm sure if she did tell King Randor, he would have probably thought she was crazy. Because he was so adamant that Adam's a slacker. He will never change. Right? Okay. So we get there. First episode, boom. They hit the castle. They start doing the fight going back and forth. As per normal. They realize something's below. Okay, as per normal. There's secrets in Castle Grayskull. And the beauty of it is Kevin Smith took the Castle Grayskull map. If you got the new Castle Grayskull that was done by Hasbro Pulse, okay? Or if you see it, look it up. They redid the Hasbro Pulse, redid the Castle Grayskull, and then there's a poster they give with it. And on that poster, it gives a breakdown on every room, every doorway in Castle Grayskull. It's a floor plan. A cutaway floor plan, towers and everything. He took that, and they did one for Snake Mountain. He took those two and said, okay, so this pit is located here by this door in Snake Mountain. All right, I'm going to make sure that's in the show.
Right.
Did the same thing for Castle Grayskull.
My word.
So every room, you can sit there with that map and say, oh, this room is beside this room. And sure enough, that's how he played it off. So when they get to the center of the bottom
Castle.
of Castle Grayskull, and then Skeletor starts going off about, oh, well, yeah, I know this is that. And you see the tower there, and him and He-Man are fighting, right? And at one point, he's up against the pyramid, and He-Man goes in and stabs him with his sword of power.
Yeah.
Skeletor was standing in the exact spot that when the sword goes through, his sword unlocks
It's locked.
the pyramid.
Yeah.
So Skeletor stood there on purpose and took the hit to have the power of wisdom, the magic, released.
Again, this is foresight. This is genius. He's willing to take a hit for the team. Now, when you remember how big the sword is, how powerful the sword is, when you see it, you see that thing went right through Skeletor. Listen, you're not coming up from that guy. You're taking a full L. You're taking a full L, guy. You're going down. You're on the floor grasping for units of work. The power of Castle Grayskull is mine.
He pulled the Obi-Wan Kenobi fighting Darth Vader in A New Hope. Strike me down and I'll come back more powerful than you can imagine, Vader. Oh, wow.
Full, oh wow. Was not expecting that. I'm like, did he just get stabbed up? Did he? And then I realized, same like you, I realized he took the man up. But then I realized, wait a minute, Skeletor is right in front. I'm like, oh shucks, here we go. Adam doesn't know what he did. He-Man didn't know what he did. All of a sudden, thank you for releasing the power. I'm like,
right?
Tactic. Again, he's a smart man. So you're going to look at this that he knew that he probably realized that throughout the commotion, he could have an idea. I'm going to go like this. Maybe he had an idea of how the layout is, where it is in the middle, realize you need the sword to open it up, whatever case it be. When you're
Mm.
on the floor,
Mm.
you're realizing, hey, if I simply can get the sword, I'll go and open it with the big key kind of scenario. Realizing that the fight is going on, I'm not going to be able to get the key out of He-Man's hand. I'm going to have to figure and position myself or position the sword to be in a way to get in there. How do I do that? Let me be in front of it and confuse them that they're distracted. They don't realize the hole is right behind me. Shoot! That's taking a hit for the team. So I mean, listen, if you're going to take a hit, you're about to die. You're being the most powerful person coming for that power. You're not going to really dead off and die on that. That
Nope.
means you already had a plan to somehow be alive when this ordeal or this task, this mission is done. We didn't, again, did it fall into play exactly how Skeletor wanted it? I don't know. I can't even say. But the result that he got,
Yep.
listen,
Touche.
touche.
Touche. I mean,
So in that realm, people, well, yeah, okay, sorry, go ahead.
no. And see, that's what's really cool, because if you had the playset for He-Man back in the days, okay,
Mhm.
and this is where I show you how deep the history went. They went, and every time you bought a toy figure, you had a little comic book in there. So they even took history from that. Now,
Right.
going forward, when you had He-Man and the sword, you needed the sword, the power sword, as a key to unlock Castle Grayskull. Okay, so this could bring me to my next point. In the show, they unlock it, the magic comes out, the orb is there. Then He-Man's like, okay, if I call down the power while I'm in this form, can I contain it? And everyone's like, oh yeah, I think you can. It's dangerous. I'm not sure if you can be able to hold it. And Teela hears it. It's like, what do you mean in this form?
Right.
And Adam, in his, He-Man form, calls down the power again. And the sword splits in two. And she see He-Man turn back into Adam. Now, the sword splitting in two?
Let's pause right there. That's definitely it. But let's step back one quick second. Why was that happening then? Just to let everybody, again, big spoiler. So Skeletor, in not his last attempt, but he realized he needs the power. The power is within the orb. So he took his staff,
Yeah,
and
his
he
ram staff,
basically
yeah.
his ram staff, and he basically cracked on the orb. So because the sources came in the last minute, so to give everybody a time frame of what's going on and have everybody figure stuff out, she came in and froze time or slowed down time.
Yes.
So, like, literally milliseconds in a sense, but you only had a certain amount of time to hold that position.
Yeah.
And during that frozen time is when Sorceress, Teela, Adam were still conscious to talk to each other. And that's when
Yeah.
they're having a conversation, and Steve Man saying, what are we doing? What are we going to do? Like she said, the orb is going to explode. That power is going to decimate Eternia.
Yes.
I can't stop it. He-Man now saying, well, if I can use as a conduit through the sword at the same time, will that work? Possible. I don't know. We're going to try that. What do you mean in that form? Going back to what Barry was saying. Because now Teela now is like realizing, hey, everybody's frozen. What's going on? Oh, no, I'm holding time. Sources, I'm holding time. Source and Adam having a conversation. Teela's just the third wheel. What do you mean in this form? We don't got time to figure this out. Just basically saying, follow my lead.
Yep.
By the power of Grayskull. As soon as she said, okay, I got to let it go. I can't hold it anymore. As soon as she let it go, boom, by the power of Grayskull. And this is what Barry's saying. The power
Yes.
came in. And so the power was exploding out of the cylinder, out of the orb.
Yes.
Power coming off, conduit off the sword onto the ball, onto the orb. And that's what the conduit. And that immense power is what splits the sword.
That's right.
That power is what split the sword. And I was like, whoo, whoo. And then when you see the sword, you see the two different colors and everything like that. And I'm like thinking, okay, boys and girls, we're now going into She-Ra realm. We have an opportunity. Put a pin on it. We're going to come back to that. And that's what I'm looking at.
Okay, see, so you're saying She-Ra, right? So let's go back before that.
No, but that's before. I know that's what it could end up. It could end up, but
Yeah,
I know
it
that's
could,
originally.
right.
That's what originally it was two. It was two, and they forged it together.
Well, okay, so you're almost right. So let me show you where I'm talking about history wise, right? And this is why I mentioned the toys. So in the original toy line from He-Man,
Okay.
there was two colored power swords. There was a silver one and a purple one.
Yes.
He-Man came with the silver or gray one.
Yeah,
Skeletor came with the other one.
How things are made. Yes, I know
That's
that.
right.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's right. The toys that made us.
Right, exactly.
And the whole fight for the toys was He-Man's trying to get the other half from Skeletor, and vice versa. Skeletor's trying to get it from He-Man. And whoever gets the two swords, you're able to actually physically put the two swords together as a toy. So one side's gray, the other one's purple. Then you go to Castle Grayskull, to the drawbridge, and you put it in, and you turn it, and it acts like a key.
Right.
That's some deep research. Remember when you always say the same words? What's the famous words you like to say, Rod? What's the famous words you like to say?
Oh my gosh! Now I just went blank. Check the facts. No, wait a minute. What? Oh, source material. Check out the source material, people.
Source material.
Source
material. Yes, they checked their source material. They went back to the toys,
to the books,
to the books,
the mini books, the mini books. No, the mini books. This is the mini books. I'm talking about the mini books.
Yeah, the mini books that came with the toys. They went back to the toys, and that's why you got two colored ones, and it gave history on where each sword comes from, right? Because literally, one sword's from heaven, one sword's from hell. You put them together. Gosh. Power sword. Wow.
Yeah, it made sense when they went that route. I'm like, okay, wow. Listen, I'm having fun right now. I know we're going on. This is only still episode 1. We still got 4 more episodes. I think this is going to be we're going to be going in. We're going in. I was supposed to DJ tonight.
Part 2 on this.
I have to do a part 2. I was supposed to DJ today. I don't know if I'm going to get that doing. But anyway, we'll come back to that. No, don't worry about that, brother. That's all about me doing a pop-up anyway. But like, this is just getting me in. We're going in.
All right.
So no. Hey.
Going.
Yeah. We're doing this first. We're doing this first.
All right, we're going.
Don't worry about it. So,
if you want to see Rod DJ, check him out on Twitch TV, DJ Rod C.
Yeah. Okay. Don't worry about that. We're talking about Master Friend. Right. I ain't worried about it. I'm in now. I'm in. Continue.
Okay, so that happens. During this explosion, you see the form of He-Man disappear, and he changes back to Adam when he's holding the two swords, trying to contain all the magic on Eternia. All the magic on Eternia. He's a conduit for all the magic on Eternia. Not even at the Grayskull. Eternia, no matter where you're at.
Let that sit.
And Teela looks and sees him as Adam. And first she sees Cringer. And Cringer, Battle Cat changes
that was another thing too. That was beautiful too. So the ripple effect hit Cringer first. So Cringer Battle Cat turned to the Cringer. And I saw that and I'm like thinking, from that particular angle, again, viewed properly, it's within Teela's view side, her view span to see Battle Cringer? And that's when she realized, wait a minute, if you're Cringer.
Yes.
It was hilarious. They drew it so slow. I just like looking back at my boys like, and then he's like looking back like, surprise. I wanted to tell you. And that was
guess who's back? Yeah. What? Adam's here. Adam was He-Man. Don't shed a tear. I'm telling you. And her face was like, what the deuce?
What the deuce indeed.
And by the time she's processing that,
oh my gosh.
Kablooey. First of all, Castle Grayskull, it falls apart. Well, the shell of Castle Grayskull.
It's not a shell. Really and truly, it's just an illusion. It's just an illusion. So the illusion of it just dissipated.
And it turns into this crystallized castle, which in turn reminded me of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe live action with Dolph Lundgren when he went to Castle Grayskull. Castle Grayskull wasn't a castle. It was this crystalline giant tower of a castle that reminded me of Superman Fortress of Solitude and the Richard Donner, Christopher Reeve Superman.
I forgot that poll. I was about to go with the latest He-Man one that they had because you saw the similarities of the House of the Elders and everything. So I was going from that. Yes. But I forgot. I think even then I might have. Maybe I'll be honest. I can't. I'm sure at that time when I thought back to Dolph, but that's a beautiful poll. That's what it is.
To me, that's how what it is. It was reminiscent of that. All crystal. I'm like, what? Look at this.
Well, looky here.
Kevin Smith. Hot damn. Right. Okay. So that caught me.
Yeah.
Right. And then, the reveal of Adam being He-Man. And then Adam gets stabbed up because Skeletor.
Don't you guys step up? He blew up. That was just a
blew up.
blow up.
That's right.
He blew up. He
He
blew up. He
My
blew up.
bad.
He blew up. He blew up. No, he blew up. He blew up. So that's when he was able to contain it as much as possible.
That's right. Sorry.
And
My
then
bad.
basically say, no, the save Eternia. And then basically, boom, Adam blew up. Adam blew up. Skeletor blew up. The case that was in the orb blew up. So basically, just imagine just seeing burnt sear, just circular sears, like smoke sears,
Yeah.
singe, and that's it. So all she could realize is at the last second, in the slow-mo of looking back, all you see Adam like, and then poof, that's it. So
Done.
all she could see when at that point where he was standing was burned shards of explosion, and she's like, then like Barry's saying, her head's now trying to process this because all she had was, if you want to go by timestamp, sources held everything down for about maybe 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
She held it in time for about, say, give it 30 seconds. And then to go through all that process was another 30, 45 seconds. I'm going to be nice and give it that 45 seconds. So in a span of a minute and a half, worst case scenario, Tila found out that there was some secret. What do you mean you got a secret? Cringer is who? Adam is who? Sorry. Secret. You know, everything about to explode up. Oh my God, this is crazy. Wait, Cringer? Adam? Boom. It's like, she didn't get a chance to process this. You can see, I give the writing, because Kevin is the first one who wrote on the first one. So Kevin Smith wrote the first episode. The writing is giving you, and the drawing just giving you the understanding that you can clearly feel that I didn't get a chance to process this. My so-called best friend lied to me, and he did up already. Wait, whoa, what? I'm confused. What's going on? I'm confused. So beautiful, not beautiful in the sense that happened, and then they just flip over. Now they're going back to the castle.
Yeah,
we're going back to the castle.
Yeah,
now man at arms, because although Tila is now the head of the captain of the guard, she's the new man at arms. At this point,
this is day one for her. This is her first day on the job.
Listen, I just got I got the benefits. You mean I got 4 weeks?
She had the job for a couple of hours, not even a full day. She had a job for a couple of hours. And we're being nice about that. And she went in, did a whole attack, had to come back, and they had to talk to King Randor and tell him what happened. It's like, well, we defended Castle Grayskull. That's amazing. That's good job. That's good job. But my liege, we had a casualty. We lost He-Man. Oh, I forgot Mossman. Mossman, burn up.
Oh yes. Mossman. Wait a minute. How did just let's step back. He was
before Adam.
Right, he was before Adam. He was before Skeletor took the juke in his chest.
Yes, all before that, because Skeletor was fighting him in front of the pyramid. Right. Had the orb, and Skeletor turned around and he's like, "I'm holding you." He's like, "Oh, you think you're powerful?" Blah, blah, blah. And then Skeletor hit him with a flame spell.
And I was like, "Bruh,
that makes sense."
That's all I can say is, "Bruh."
Dry.
Bruh. Yeah.
Moss, fire, wind.
Bruh. Don't you guys know that that's part of his itinerary? Don't you know that guy? He has fire. Bruh. Come on. But Sandman, just like Sandman going against Spider-Man, and he goes to a lake. He's close to a hydrant. Bruh. You better move quick, because if you crack that open, it's on you. And sure enough, cracked, sand and water, mud up. Bruh. So yeah, Mossman got burned up. He got burned up. He got burned up.
Right. So we had to go back and report the casualties. They told King Randor, all right, we saved, Castle Grayskull.
Mossman did out.
Yeah, exactly. He gone.
Mossman did out.
We had a casualty. We lost He-Man. And King Randor, well, we lost He-Man. That's a shame. We've lost He-Man, but he died a hero defending. We'll sing songs about He-Man, but
we'll tell his stories. Yes.
There's stories, and he's being all kingly, and it's a shame, but the whole time though, the Queen balling out. As soon as they said He-Man gone, she's like, "Oh my God!" Like she cried. I mean, King Randor must have been thinking, "What happened? You had the feelings for He-Man? Did you have an affair with He-Man? Why are you crying for him so long?"
Listen, and what's still killing me that again, this as man-at-arms, Duncan, telling the captain, telling the king this, telling everybody this, what's going on. Tila, you could clearly still see Tila's face is still in awe. I'm still trying to process this. Now, again, if we're going to be realistic, because everybody being realistic in how far the distance is, because if you clearly see from when they were evacuating the castle, I mean, the palace, when they're saying, we're going to go and fight and save Castle Grayskull, they did an oversized shot of the kingdom, and you can see far off over a hill-type plain a lot of light. So you can say that Castle Grayskull was out yonder, so out that way.
Yeah.
So we're going to say that maybe you fly out on the scooter, you fly out, or you drive out, whatever the case may be. You got another half hour. I'm going to be nice and give you another half hour drive. Let's say half hour. You're a half hour out. By flying, you're another half hour out. Cool. No problem. Tila's still having the processes for coming down from the basement, coming up the stairs, coming across Castle Grayskull's drawbridge, coming outside, getting into the scooter. Her head is still thinking like this. Her eyes are if I remember correctly, when they faded from that to the castle, her face was still like
same look.
The same look. She didn't go nowhere. That means for the past 30 plus minutes, Tila's been like, I'm still processing him. And then it's like when Queen Marlena started to ball out. Now you can feel like Tila's now like, what? Randor was like, why? Why are you crying? Our son is dead! What are you talking about?
Yeah, and that's Duncan. It's true. Adam died. It's like, no, Adam's somewhere in the castle. It was like, Adam, make him first. It was like, Adam, show everyone here in the royal palace to the doors. Okay, Dad, no problem. Open the doors. Everyone go his way. Follow the king and queen. Follow the king and queen. Be safe. And then close the door. And that's when Marlena was like, okay, Adam, be safe. She didn't say Adam, but she just verbalized it.
Yeah.
Right? No one else around her. And then it's like, our son's dead. What do you mean? He's somewhere in the castle. Like, what kind of father? You don't even know where your pickney is? Okay.
Well, he knows his son is a slacker. And the thing is, I will always say this, is that they gave, it's a basic dual identity of always being the opposite of who you are.
That's right.
Clark Kent, Superman, looking clumsy. Like,
Billy Batson, Shazam.
Right? Shazam. Well, Billy was always, at least,
He's gutsy, but
he was gutsy. He was still gutsy.
Physically, he doesn't look anywhere near.
Yeah, no. But gutsy. It's the guts. It's the attitude. It's the characteristic that he brought out. It's
Superman,
the trait.
You're right. The best one is Superman, Clark Kent,
and Clark Kent. So Adam has always been in the original one. Adam was always like, "Oh, there's a fight. Yo, I'm gonna go and look for help. I'm scared, but not looking for help. Like I need to help anybody. I'm like, yeah, the fight's over there. I'm going to help over here." And people be like saying, "You scaredy cat, where you going? Help the fight." Yo, not me, dog. Listen, I'm a prince. I don't do them things. That's above my pay grade. That's not within my realm. That's not me, dog. That ain't me. That's nowhere me, brother. No. So he's always have portrayed, I am the scaredy cat. I'm the slacker. I'm the person who's looking. Fire is that way. I go this way.
Yes.
Trouble is that way. I go this way. You're not catching me nowhere close to that.
No
that
way,
was
man.
Prince Adam's itinerary, and that's how he kept it. So everybody's seen that. So Randor is like thinking, yeah, my boy's somewhere in the house. Listen, he's a slacker. He went hiding up in his room. He probably up in his room. Who knows what he's doing up in his room?
Yep.
Sorry, My Highness. No. Adam did pass away. He did pass away as well. I'm sorry. I wish you never had to find out this way. But Adam is here. What? Duncan, did you drink anything before you left for the mission? Are you a little tipsy? What's wrong with you?
We need you to pee in a cup, Duncan, and we're gonna drug test you.
Test you. Not my son.
And when Duncan said that, and he's looking back at Queen, and she was like, she confirmed it for him. It's
confirmed it.
Like, yes, Adam is like, and then that's when Tila snapped.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. So that's the joke I was coming back to. She's now computing. So computing is processing, and she's now coming down to the last two entries. Oh, my son died. My son he dead up. Enter. You are crazy. My girl,
you bunch of liars. Wait a minute. So, Dad, you knew? God. Yeah. Oh, so Oracle, you knew? Yeah. Cringer? Yeah. Well, Prince Adam swore us to secrecy. No. So all you knew, and none of you had the guts or told me. He was
Courtesy
like
to
my
tell
best
me.
friend. Queen Marlena, you knew? Well, it was Adam's secret. It was his secret to tell, not for me to tell anybody. So everyone knew except for me and King
And
Randor.
King Randor.
You know what?
Hilarious.
This whole thing, Eternia, built on a whole thing of liars. I quit.
Listen,
And Randor was like, wait a minute. So you all knew except for her and me? Duncan, you are banished.
gone.
If I see you again, I'll have you executed. Not even imprisoned.
Listen.
Executed.
I was weak because Kevin said this portion of it is going to be very gritty, very real, and you're going to have conversations that say, listen, if the person really stubbed up his toe, he should be crying, oh, for the love of Francis, my toe hurt. My stub up on the side of the building or something. It's going to be real. So if my son died out, you knew, that means, wait a minute. At this time now, Randor is going through the process. He said, pull up, He-Man Adventures. My son has been doing what? And doing this and doing, close the file. Duncan, you knew about all this? And you ain't tell me? Boy, you're dead. You're dead. I'm giving you a chance. You better leave now, boy. I can't even look at you. And that was a joke. The man was like, be gone! I'm trying to remember. Did he even look? I think he
didn't
literally.
look at him. He's like, I can't even look at you right now.
He can't even look at him. He gave him the true royal treatment. Like, out to my courtyard,
get out of my sight. You were stripped of everything. If I ever see you again, you are dead. I'll have you executed. Not even imprisoned. I'll have you executed.
Listen, when I heard that, I'm like, yo, Randor is not playing. And I understand. That's where you show the emotion of being hidden from all this. So you can understand the emotion from him, the emotion from Teela. Listen, that beautiful secret, I realized as well, as a side note, I wanted to jump back, because I just remember when you talked about everybody's a liar. When Skeletor was, just before he blew up, when Skeletor saw and realized He-Man is the young prince.
Yes.
So now, it's now known that He-Man and Adam are one and the same.
Yes.
I now I have to go back and watch, because I now have to think, did Evelyn catch a glimpse of that? Because we can go into that later on. I'm how the story plays out. I'm trying to go through my little quick Rolodex file of that. I can't recall.
She wasn't there.
No, she was. No, she was there, because she was there.
No, she had knew. She found out.
That's what I'm saying. I think so. That's the thing. I'm trying to remember. Did she find out at that point?
She knew.
She knew. That's on it. She knew afterwards, but maybe through conversation. But I'm trying to remember. Did she figure out at that point, or did she figure out later on in the episode? So that's the part I'm going to have to go back and check. That's the part I just want to feel that one out. But
yeah, that's a good question.
When Skeletor realized that, I'm like, oh, that's a good part. Again, Skeletor could have been looking the other way when all that is happening, He didn't have to see that, but of course he's going to draw his attention to what's happening in front of him. He-Man now taking the sword, conduiting out the power, whatever the case to be. It happened to see, wait, he just turned into the young man. Young Prince Adam? Yeah.
Yep. The cat's out the bag.
Boy.
The cat is out the bag, man. Look, okay, so
one.
That happens. That's pretty much wrapping up that episode. But that's and for King Randor, I'll say this, as a parent, he would, of course, I get the anger, but I'm not sure who he's angrier more at. Or,
right.
Yeah. Is he angry at Duncan for not telling him, for Adam for not telling him, or is the person he's angriest, and I think so, is at himself for all the times that he's dismissed his own son, now finding out that his son was not a hero, but the hero for Eternia. And there was adventures where one time Randor got kidnapped by Skeletor in Filmation, and He-Man saved him. And He-Man said, "Man, I wish my son was way more like you. You represent everything I want in my son." Not realizing that he's talking to his son.
Deep cut, man. That's a deep cut. That's a deep
cut. So if you're keeping all the Filmation history in there, that means you're keeping all people's frame of mind in there as the characters. deep cut for on both sides. And Adam just kind of took it with a grain of salt. You know, even though it did bother him at times, because I know he wanted to tell his father, and the sources said he couldn't. For his father now to realize that, man, every time I looked at this boy, like he was wetness. and he was the prime. Damn.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
In her famous words, my boy Farouk from WWE. Damn. That's gonna hit. So.
Oh yeah.
I'm curious, and I know I'm kind of jumping ahead. That's the only time we've seen King Randor and Queen Malena in these 6 episodes, right? We don't see them after these episodes, after this first initial episode. You don't see them. So when they do part 2, the continuation of the series, they have to come back at one point with his parents. And are his parents are still going to my question is, are they still going to be together? Because if he's that angry, you know,
I think they will, because I was here when you were counting it out. I was wondering, is he mad at Duncan? Is he mad at his wife? Or is he mad at himself? But since you're right, you didn't bring her name into it. At this point, it's going to be Duncan or himself, because he's going to be the type of I am the man of the house type of thing. I should have known.
Yes,
he can't see.
Remember, the queen only suspected. She was pretty much close. She never knew 100% for sure. She never had that conversation.
That's why he can't be mad at her. That's why he can't be mad at her.
I hope not, right? But this is what it is. But he might be that angry. He might be that angry over the situation that she might be saying, well, you know what? You're not the man I fell in love with. You're just bitter and angry all the time. I'm out. and who knows? Maybe she might just cut out and go someplace else. Maybe she went back to Earth. Maybe they needed time. They needed time away from each other, because you know sometimes when you have in a true situation, you have a couple that's together and they lose a child, God forbid, right? Depending on the mind frame of how both parents take it, sometimes that drives them apart.
Right. No, completely true.
So will this drive them apart? That's a huge question for me. You know, how is that going to change Randor as a king? Because he might be a king that walks away from the people and says screw it, or he might be there and he might be such a strict king he might almost be borderline dictator. It's going to change what happens with them.
Yeah, the dynamics is definitely going to change.
You know, so I mean, they could give it a happy ending depending how they want to wrap up the series, like when it's fully done. But so that's my point. Like, King Randor is wow. Yeah, that's going to be interesting how they're going to play that, because they never go back. And, you know, I know we're going to talk about other stuff, but they never go back to the king and queen, right? Because from that point, at the end of that episode, and then you get in episode 2, the focal point is Teela is a pivotal role. Now, I always say, I've seen the comments. I know people don't like it. They're like, how can you call it, you know, Masters Universe without He-Man? Well, keep in mind, it doesn't say He-Man Masters Universe. It says Masters of the Universe. This is the story on the rest of them. And there's still some other ones they haven't brought in yet. You know,
listen, there's a whole
even throughout the whole series right now, there's a whole lot of back characters that were always prominent, you know, in the series that they have not brought in yet.
That's what I'm waiting. I'm happy that they've actually. We're gonna get to it, but they nicely brought in. They didn't overdo it.
No.
Because he did have Skeletor had a team. He had a lot of henchmen. He-Man
had a lot of allies.
That's what I was about to say. He-Man had a lot of allies. So we've been graced by seeing, I'll cut you here, Faker. And I'm just trying to think I don't want to say ahead Faker. Oh my God, I forgot who. I saw him, but I just couldn't remember. With the claws. What
Beastman.
Not Beastman. No. When he was dragged in, who did he drag in the first? Who was the 2 characters?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I'm not that deep into it.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
sorry.
exactly. But when I saw, exactly, same for me. But when I saw him, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Okay, they had no speaking role, no problem. But you brought in those characters, like, yes, you are known in the sense these are known Skeletor's henchmen. So yes, it makes it valid that you can walk in to the front door with them. Because it was Skeletor. No, it was him and no,
The other one with the
Faker.
tail, like Whiplash.
Yeah, something like that. But anyway,
Right.
but anyway, so we'll go with that. So you're absolutely right. It's going to be interesting to see how they how the dynamics is if we're going to go that route. So let's even keep that going. We can keep going for the next one. So now episode 2, Poison Chalice, is we now pick up after Tila left. Tila said, "I'm done with you. I'm done with the Castle Grayskull. I'm done with Man at Arms. I'm done with the palace. I'm done." She literally cut all ties.
All ties.
Listen, everybody's done off. Done. I don't want nothing to do with you. She literally just said, "I'm gone. I'm forsaking my birthright. Everything. I'm gone." So we now pick up where there's we find out that there's basically Tila's a mercenary. She's a mercenary.
Yep.
She changed up her style. She left. Let's give it. I want to just say one little thing to get to this point.
No, go
When
ahead.
she left, she took off her tiara.
Yep.
But if you really think of it, Tila always had her hair all nice up, whatever, had her tiara and had her hair all nice, proper, because she's a captain of the guard, she's a man of arms, she's, royal guardsman, so she's like prim and proper. My girl took that off, her tiara looking like Wonder Woman, dashed that to them. "I'm done with you all liars," whatever. Her hair now dropping, all wavy, all like, it's like, you can tell they didn't draw it like clean haircut. They could like this girl with all hair wrap up in things, so it kind of buns and it's like, oh,
Yep.
there's real hair tie up. I'm like, all right, we get some realism. And my girl will walk out. So now we see her as a mercenary. My girl, she
changed her
shaved.
hairstyle.
She shaved
one
herself.
part
I'm
of her
trying,
head,
I'm trying to remember. I think it was this side. So she shaved up her side here, like one of those kind of shots. So she shaved this
Yep.
up, and it's now like a bowl cut kind of thing, only shoulder length, halfway on her back. You know what? She's
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
nice. She's looking nice,
Mhm.
less hairs, and then in a way infringing her when she's fighting and mercenating, whatever, being a mercenary. But she's now tagged on with her friend. She has a new partner, Andrea.
Andrea, yeah. But one thing about Tila looks more buff too.
Yes, I was gonna mention something along.
She looks like physically, she looks more buff. Like the arms are, yeah.
So this is the part I was gonna say that I was listening. I figured it out, and I was listening, and I don't recall hearing a timestamp
No,
in the
that's only
sense
thing.
of how long. So I'm now was trying to gauge throughout the show or throughout the second episode
Mhm.
how long it's been. So yeah, she looks more buffed up, whatever the case to be. So we're gonna give her a couple of months.
It's been a few years because
I think so too.
because as you were saying when you brought in her the person she's with right now, Andrea, right?
Yes.
So that's a new persona, new person altogether.
Mhm.
She said when they mentioned, at one point they had to do their mission or whatever, and they mentioned like Castle Grayskull. She
Yeah.
said, "Oh yeah, I heard tales of that from my grandfather."
Right.
So that to me, if you're hearing tales from your grandfather, and you're listening to tales when your grandfather is talking to you and telling you tales, you usually, early, maybe late teens if I'm pushing it. If you're listening to tales, I mean, okay, they're not watching TV like how we are in this generation, that world that they're telling. So I'm thinking that person maybe had to be anywhere from 10 to maybe 13, 14 max.
Yeah.
Right. Well, telling tales. So this is not the first time she's heard this tale. So she probably heard this tale as a little kid up to that time frame. I would say I'm thinking in my mind, I put it as an even number as 10 years have gone by.
I was wondering if I was going to go that high. I now have to go back because at this point now, we're going to make a reference in the next
some characters
episode.
have some gray hair, so
Right, and that's what I'm saying. That I got to go back and check the difference of gray hair off of this particular person.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
From earlier on and everything like that. So I got to go back and check that out. But I'm now easily saying, I know I said months. I should say years. Like we're looking at least. I was thinking easily 3 to 5.
Could be. That makes sense, probably.
But that's what I'm just saying. I'm not going off of the tales per se.
Right.
Because she could have heard tales all her life. We just now have to get a base standard. But I'm trying to go with. I'm honestly thinking let's give it 5. I'm gonna give it 5.
That makes more sense. That probably makes more sense than what I was saying. I'm just going by impression.
It's possible. It's possible. But basically, what we're saying is that there was a time time has expanded. Time has elapsed, I should say,
Mhm.
since the time Tila said, "I'm done, with y'all," till we pick her up as being a mercenary, right? And
Yeah.
she's basically basically was we find her in a job picking up trying to retrieve a glove or a gauntlet basically
Yes. Yes.
for a special gauntlet, whatever the case may be. But where she was picking it up, she and Andrea were in this garbage area and basically digging through to find it, and then they're seeing movements in the garbage pile. If anything, you can go back to a garbage pile like Fifth Element, when you see the episode
Yes.
where
Right.
that's the close equivalent of seeing a wall full of garbage bags, whatever the case would be, and so they're digging for whatever the case would be for the item. Then you see this character pop up to confront them, Stinkor, and I'm like, okay, we're going back, baby. We're bringing some people here. We're bringing some people here, and yep, it was good.
It was good. It was a good appearance for Stinkor. It was a perfect time to kind of insert that character in there. It made sense because even they said when they walked in there, it's like, oh, we have these air filtration units, right? So they had these masks on, and they go, you can still smell the stink in here. It smells that bad. And sure enough, okay, it leads into a whole fight with Stinkor popping up, and I'm like, what? Finally. And just like the toy, he breathes out the gas from his mouth, so the toy would squirt out water from his mouth. He breathed out this gas, like a skunk, right? And he's played by Jason Mewes. So good on Kevin Smith for always making sure his boy get work.
Jay, I got something for you, brother.
It's like, whatever, man, I'm in. So and Jay's
but it was
huge...
good. It was good. But yeah, Jay was cool. It was so well done that only after checking it after, and I'm realizing that was Jason. I was like, okay, but it was done. It was well done. I liked it.
It was done good. I like that. And I mean, it was quick to shine a show where Tila was at, her frame of mind was at, how she's taken on kind of an apprentice, what they've been doing since then, how they've been earning their wages since her way through the world, since she's left that position of and then she gets approached by this old woman.
Old lady.
Yeah, so they retrieve the gauntlet, they get it back, and they're walking on. It's like, oh, this old woman's like, oh, if you could retrieve this item for me, be greatly appreciated, and I'd pay you double what you just made, or I'll pay you triple what you just made. And it's like, really? Oh, I don't know. It's like, oh yeah, it's just over here. It's the job takes you, but you have to go to Snake Mountain. And that's when Andrea turns around, like, Snake Mountain, I've heard about.
And her eyes are popping loud, like, woo, this is be fun and adventurous. Yeah, three times the money, but now I can be doing something with Snake Mountain. That's like, now she's now touching, like saying, her stories of days of old, hearing these stories. I'm now going to have the possibility to be in the presence of something of a story like that. Oh, we got to do it. Tila was like, I've done those stuff before. I'm out. Trust me.
Yeah, I'm not living that lifestyle anymore.
I'm out. Deuces. I'm out.
Deuces. It's been real, but I got to go.
So it was hilarious that was happening. But I have to say that it was great this is where the story aspect of Andrea's stories kicked in, that you realize that, again, she's hearing the lore of Castle Grayskull. She's hearing the lore of Snake Mountain. She's hearing the lores on all these stories. And like, I have an opportunity to go in. I said, okay, I might dead up. But guess what? I'm going to go in fighting, whatever the case would be. Tila, you're a girl. I'll follow you. But I think I'm going to do this. So now you kind of put Tila in that position. You're like,
yeah.
Fine!
Well, keep in mind, there are different spectrums, right? Tila is now done with all the hero stuff because she's gone through the pain, the loss, everything with it. She's done with it. Her protege this is now exciting. She's an adventurer. It's like, oh, I want to go into this whole thing. And I like how they deal with that a little bit later on.
Exactly.
So, and this is what I was saying before, is with Snake Mountain, they get in there with Snake Mountain, and it's cool because what they do is they give you a little flashback about Snake Mountain with Tila.
Beautiful.
He-Man. It was great. And what I liked with Snake Mountain is if you have the playset, there is a trap door in the playset, right? If you look at maps and layouts of how Snake Mountain is, like blueprints, there's a trap door there that falls in the ground and you get caught by a net.
Listen.
They drew that in. They made that a spot to interact. They literally took the blueprint and said, this is what it should be. This is the way. This is how they do it.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you, I never had the playset for. I never had the playset. I remember you were having it. I remember by you. You had
Brian,
it. Yeah, Brian had it. I remember it
yeah.
was in your house. One of y'all had it.
Brian
One of
had
y'all.
the He-Man one. He didn't have Snake Mountain, but he had
Yeah.
Castle
I know
Grayskull.
No one. I don't remember seeing anything with the snake mountain. But the fact is, when I saw that drawing, and I'm like thinking, yes, we're being very, you know, again, He-Man is a futuristic / old type. You got the merge of different type of worlds. But when I
Yes.
saw that net, and I'm like thinking, a trap door? I'm thinking these people are going toys on me. I think these people are pulling a toy on me.
They did.
Nah, man, these people until you just said it, I'm like, nah, man, these guys, they just drew it in. That's interesting to drew it in and have it's nicely tied at the corner. It's not even looking like it was, you know what I mean? It looked so.
It looked like something came from a playset as opposed to something drawn in
exactly
from the show. Like, yeah.
And I'm
with how they did it.
honestly, God is my witness. I thought that I'm like, that looking a little bit too simple. Looking like a toy. Like, nah. Keep watching the show, boy. Keep watching the show. And that's what they did?
That's what they did, man. That's how I saw it. That's exactly. You look at that playset with Snake Mountain playset. You have the net underneath, and it ties up at the four corners. That like source material.
Source material.
Wow. So once again, I'm hearing people talking about the negative about it, and I don't get why. Those are the purists, and you're always gonna have their critics, but they did this amount of research. And once again, I keep saying it's Masters of the Universe, not He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. It's not He-Man with the Masters and their story. It's the story about the Masters. It's their point of view, of what's happening. So He-Man being there or not, lack of him being there or not, present day, no. But you get nice flashbacks with Teela, and they explain that as they go on. So this episode, they get into Snake Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
They find some other of Skeletor's cronies.
Mm-hmm.
They've now gone to a new religion. They've like, oh, we're done with Skeletor and the way he was doing things in his ego. It's Triceratops, who's now the head guy running things, along with Lockjaw.
Yeah, Triclops. So Triclops. Sorry. Yeah, Triclops.
That's right.
Triclops. And Lockjaw. And Lockjaw.
Oh.
It's hilarious. When I saw Lockjaw from before, I'm like, oh, that's nice. That's nice. He looked nice.
And Triceratops. That was my boy. I always liked him because he came with, he's got, the turning eyes and all that. He's got his weapons, right? Then he always had those like 3 spheres that would chase people down, and they all made an appearance. Everything made an appearance. Everything was there, represented to the true nature of the character from the source material that existed before in the mini comics, the regular comics, because at one point they were written by DC. Then it went over to like IDW or Image that were writing those comic books. Mm-hmm. The filmation, they really got a lot of the background in there as much as possible.
Yeah. Listen, you're talking about the purists and stuff like that. Listen, with that particular aspect, that part of the storyline is when they're basically converting people to the new religion of technology, versus sorcery and magic. And like you said, he was saying, listen, we've been following Skeletor all this time, and he keeps baffling up and dropping the ball. Listen, sorcery was never good. It never worked. Magic never worked. We're going with technologies. And then you started seeing basically nanobots. And I'm like thinking, we're bringing nanobots into this? I'm like, okay. So when it went into them, when they drank it from the goblet and drank it, and I'm like thinking, okay, how are we gonna look? But we did see a clip of someone who had a face that looked kind of cyborgish, had an eye and everything like that. So he's like, I wonder if they'll turn into that. But I was so intrigued that when the person changed and turned into a cyborg, his hand, the way the hand looked, it looked like the toy. It looked like the 80s version. And I'm looking on that, I'm like, again, source material. I'm like, this is looking proper. You're not trying to smooth it out to make it look a rounded, whatever. It's like squared up.
Yep.
And I'm like, the blade coming out, splitting down the middle and everything like that, and that looking still robotic, squared like the toy.
Man,
source material, baby. Source material.
That
it's done.
That was it. And then, they go, they get that goblet that they needed, right? They, you know, Tila and Andrea, they end up escaping. Even when they're leaving Snake Mountain, they're going by those two pits. She takes like a little throwing star, throws it in the pit, and wakes up the creature with all the tentacles. That's there once again from the toy, and fighting all the, and they escape. That way is there in Snake Mountain. So it's called Snake Mountain. It's supposed to be big. They make their way back. They give the goblet. They're both to walk away. And then that same, you know, woman turns around and says, hey, I'll give you twice as much if you escort me here. And it's like, okay, well, where do you want to be escorted? And, you know, once again, it's kind of causing divide. Castle Grayskull. What? You know, we can even get killed for just being on site for Castle Grayskull. It's a forbidden. King Randor made it a forbidden zone.
And that was when I heard that, I'm like thinking, okay, so he's either still bitter or he's basically isolating. That's like a dead zone. No one is supposed to be there because of how that has affected my life. I want no part of it. No one can have part. If you go in there, you're going to be banished, killed, dead off. You're dead.
Yeah.
So I heard that. I'm like, wow. Again, if it's 5 years, 10 years, how long? Randor still got that lockdown. Like, no one can go by there. Again, the puppy eyes of, I need adventure. Listen,
Twice
this
the
is
money.
new to me. Twice the money. This is new to me. This is what I live for. It's fine. You're not going to survive unless I go. Dang it, DeFrancis.
Yeah. But when Snake Mountain, I mean, so Castle Grayskull.
Castle Grayskull.
And they get there, and when they get there, they call, you know, they get there, they get her there safely, and she's like, oh, well, I just need to do this, and then they call her out. It's like, okay, Evelyn, what's your plan?
Right.
Like, if you have a keen ear, you can tell that was Evelyn from before, because you know the actress, and that's the actress that was from Game of Thrones. You know, she played Sarah Connor on TV for this Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles, which I was a fan of. She's done a lot of other movies, English actress. And she's, you know, so I caught the voice, but the fact that the characters knew it was Evelyn the whole time. So at first, I mean, it shows you where her mentality is. Like for Tila knew it was Evelyn the first time, right? Even though she was disguised as an old woman and went along with it just to get money. Like she really doesn't care anymore.
Right.
And then went on for the second mission just to see how it's playing out, because that's where Andrea was like, well, you know, you don't trust her, I don't trust her, but we got to make sure that someone keeps an eye on her just in case. Okay, let's see. And they get to Castle Grayskull, and it's like, all right, what are you really planning, Evelyn? It was like, oh, you knew it was me? Yeah. I mean, she's a mercenary, not stupid.
Right.
But, right? And that's where the whole thing comes out. You find out that, you know, the sorceress is still there. They're all working together on some plan to bring magic back, save the universe, right? Save people. And it's like, okay, I'm going to go along with that plan.
Right.
You know, and see after all the explanations there, you see a couple of flashbacks with Tila and, Tila and He-Man. And I think overall the episode, it really set the tone for what was about to come.
Right.
You know, I made the plan of saying, well, we needed to get these objects back. You know, Evelyn went in this whole thing of I should have been a leader. I shouldn't have followed Skeletor for so long. I should have been my own person. You know, and she and really convinced, because I was all on board for this. Like, oh, really? Okay, yeah. So you're kind of falling. You're kind of getting away from being under his shadow, because you're pretty much on par with what he is. You've always been there as like number 2.
Yeah.
Right? It's like Starscream saying, hey, I'm going to be my own person. I shouldn't follow Megatron. And you know, Starscream for years is trying to get rid of Megatron. And then in the series, he turns into a good guy, depending which series you're watching or reading. You see Starscream turn into a good guy trying to save Cybertron. You know, and then, of course, he goes back to his ultimate plan of being himself, of trying to screw everybody over. Okay.
Starscream!
Right. So Evelyn lays this, exactly. Evelyn lays this all down. She's good to go. You know, and ready to start. And she starts doing her whole speech. Okay, gets Tila on board. Andrea's on board. And then, you know, the sorceress wants to say something, but Tila stops her.
Right.
You know, so that was a good, like, segue episode. To me, episode 2 was a good segue episode from episode 1 going into episode 3.
Well, let me just
Go
pause
ahead.
right there, though, because there's a point that she was still pissed.
Oh, God,
Tila was still Teela was still pissed. She was still pissed at Sorceress and everything. Because now here's the problem. I want to have everybody understand. Visually, they went to Castle Grayskull. She had to go inside Castle Grayskull and they met up with the Sorceress. When they met up with the Sorceress is downstairs, back in the same room where everything happened, aka 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So as Teela came in, Teela still sees the burnt marks of her best friend get up, bun up, dead up in that corner there. It's still stirring up. And all these plans of trying to bring back magic and everything like that. She wasn't down for the beginking. Nope. She was only down because of a certain person by the name of Cringer who had to have that heart to heart talk. Listen, I know you're scared. Who knows more about scaring than me? Yeah. I'm the scare master. I got doctorates. I got PhDs on being scared. Come on, people. I can teach class. Right. Come on, class in session.
And it showed that Cringer kind of got over some of his fears for how it seemed.
I don't know if I take it. Yes, take it that he got over his fears, but it showed that he grew. Some but yeah, some. No, but I mean in the fact that he grew up. He became a little bit mature and realizing that now you're also again the same thing like I said about the previous revelation or the 64 from the early days, the Filmation one. Cringer was always shown to be the scaredy cat, no matter what. Yep. Mental note, pause. To the very beginning of the episode 1, they were having the festival, the party for Teela, and fireworks were going off, and everybody was saying, "Oh, we're having fun. No one should be scared." All you see to remind everybody who's the master scare cat man. Cringer underneath the table. Is it over? Is it over? We're under attack. I'm like, brother, come on, brother. You should know. I can understand you're scared. Just don't say you're under attack. You know it should be fireworks.
Yeah.
Except that it's fireworks scared and not attack scared. But I digress. But at least now he's having a conversation with her. Mm-hmm. He's now showing some maturity and having a conversation and saying, listen, I know what scared is about. I think I might have an idea what you're scared about. You shouldn't be scared. Listen, you're the one who named me Cringer. I was a little pup. I was a little cub. No one, you the one called me Cringer. Yes. And I'm dead sure that's an episode there. I wonder if there's
a flashback. There's a flashback. I believe there's a flashback in Filmation when Cringer first comes aboard. Yeah.
And I think so. That's why my head is like that. So it's perfect. Deep cut. Source material. Deep cut. So you got that. Now you're getting that pull. You're pulling on the heartstrings. The man's going into her feelings. The man's going. He's like tiger claw into her feelings. And pulled her in.
But it was a good talk. She needed to hear that.
It was beautiful, and that's what I'm saying. That for him to make that conversation,
right?
If Sorceress was to have a conversation with her, it's a 50-50. It will get through,
right?
But for her to get the conversation from him, realizing it had to come from him, and it was perfect. That you now see the maturity, and this is the part I want to say. Everybody was making it seem like Cringer is scaredy cat from back in the Filmation days. We're now saying that the boy has basically got a little girth, he got a little courage, and at least a little maturity to know this conversation might have to come from me. Forget I'm gonna listen. I got her. Teela, it's me. Crawling up to her, and he realized he had to make that conversation.
Yeah.
So I was like, beautiful. So that was how we ended off the second episode because it was good. Because at that point she's like, oh, the silly cat, and that's when she started hugging him up and giving the old little kind of loving up.
She got back in her feelings. She remembered like the good times with it, and I think that's where she's starting to heal. As a person, she's starting to kind of finally mourn because the whole time she left up to that point, she was angry.
Fully. She walked out full of anger, 5 years of anger, mercenary anger, taking out people. I want to deal with you people. Repete, anger. This was the crack in her armor to let some feeling, to get some type of remorse out and get some healing back in. That was it.
She needed that though, and you're right, it had to come from Cringer because anybody else would have been like, okay, shut up, I'm not bothering with you. But coming from Cringer, who was also Adam's best friend, and it's almost like, well, if that was the other
line too, right?
If I'm able to forgive or see, then so should you. You know, it was like I didn't know who the true Adam was. Like,
Right. I was about to get to that point.
Yeah, go
Because
ahead.
because he was saying that you have to understand, Tila. He didn't tell you because he already trusted you. You were already in his confidence. You were one of his confidants. He didn't feel he had to tell you per se. He just knew if the time came, and when he tells you, because he would have told you in a proper manner, you would have accepted it along that line. But you followed the wrong way. But
Yep.
he trusted you. He trusted you with your life. He-Man is only a bigger version of Adam, but it was still Adam. If Adam went into battle with you, he trusted your life. He trusted his life with you. He-Man, who is one of the masters of the universe, one of the most powerful men in the world, still had trust to say, listen, if my life get dead up, I know I don't have to worry my life dead up if she got my back.
Yeah.
I got her, she got me. My life ain't dead up. I know I can get through this. And you see clip backs of them working together, doing
Yes.
some techniques. And I was later on, what? Lasso of feet. What? Lasso of feet in your head. Sorry. 5 across the eyes, foot across your eyes.
Across the eyes. Big
That was
toe
hilarious.
stick up your eye.
You go-
Right?
That's it.
That
That was perfect. And that's why I'm like saying that the conversation had to come from Cringer,
yes.
letting her know that although you may have been the one person out of the crew that did not know the secret, you were one of the most trusted ones that he knew that he could trust with. Like you were already in.
Yeah.
You may not have seen the paperwork, but trust me, you were already in the
That's
building.
right.
But
That's
let's
right.
not carry on. Let's go.
All
So,
right.
bam, number three.
All right.
What? The most dangerous man in Eternia. And even when I heard that, I was like, listen, let me tell you something, brother. Let me tell you.
Tell me.
Listen, I'm going to say, as a side note, and this is just no bragging rights or anything like that. I love to watch Fat Man Beyond, with Kevin and Mark.
Yes.
Mark Badarnan was the writer for this particular story. I can see Mark typing away. I'm sorry. We're gonna get to the sequence of certain things, and I was like, "Damn you, Mark! Damn you, Mark! Damn you!" It was like on point. So the most dangerous man. When you see that, I'm like thinking, okay, if we're gonna go to who do we think? If it ain't He-Man, who's the next most dangerous man in all Eternia? Man at Arms.
Man at Arms.
Man at Arms.
Man at
So
Arms made everything.
I was like, yeah, if we're saying that name, that means we're going to see Man at Arms. Duncan's coming in. Okay.
Let's be real. Man at Arms made everything. Okay, every vehicle,
Piece of
weapon,
equipment.
every piece of equipment.
Equipment is
Every
man.
piece of equipment that
That's what
He-Man used, the rest of the Masters used, bulk of them, 98% were made by Duncan. The other 2 were modified because they found it by someone else.
And you know what? Let me put a pause on that. Because in my head, I always associated, again, like I was saying earlier about the title of Man at Arms
Right.
and Duncan, realizing is really the title of the Man at Arms is that. Man at Arms is the title. He's the builder. He's the creator. Now, we've never went into that particular field of hearing if Tila was a builder.
No, but she's not. A
She's
Man at
not.
Arms is supposed to be just a general. It's just that
A
Duncan
general.
himself
Health is
is
the
an
creator.
inventor. He likes to invent. That's
yeah.
his hobby, and he's
That's
able
his
to.
hobby.
And he had the resources of the palace behind him. So when he wanted to create something, he didn't have to go out and say, "Okay, well, I have to go out and save money or find someone to finance it." He would just
Resources
say,
are there.
"Well, here I am in the king's laboratory. I feel like making a jetpack. I need these pieces with this metal and this sphere, and okay, I'm gonna put it all together." All the resources were there. He
Right.
didn't have to go and build anything. He didn't have to go and buy anything.
Didn't.
It was there.
Didn't.
Right? As an inventor, you're always looking to buy. You know what you need, but then you have to go and either create it, or you have to buy it, or you have to find it somewhere to do it. Right? For him, you have the resources of a kingdom behind you.
Fully.
All right.
Fully.
So you walk into the labs, you look, and you're like,
Mhm.
I need this.
Mhm.
Give me that. Fuse this together.
And
That was his pastime.
Yeah.
So Man at Arms is really a position of rank.
Right.
Duncan is an inventor.
Right.
two different things.
So let's jump off on how this one started, because it was this is where I see a touch of the mark. I see a touch of the mark.
Uh-huh.
So if I remember correctly, they started out, people are in line to get
Yes.
some type of liquid. I was doing water. Everybody
That's
seemed
what
like
I
it's
thought.
like we're in rations and everybody's in rationing. Everybody has a cup.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll be nice and say it's an 8 ounce cup. I'm looking at technical problem. 8 ounce cup, and this man in a shawl, just covering himself, whatever the case to be. Get your drip, drip, drip. Cool. An older man was before him,
Yep.
had it, and he dropped. Now I'm thinking, okay, that's man at arms. I don't know what's in the water or whatever the case to be, but everybody that makes jokes, look at you, you go waste the last piece of drop of Eternity Magic or whatever. I'm like, oh, magic. So
Yeah.
this is even more serious. So I'm like, okay. So I honestly, word of a lie, I thought Duncan was going to come help pick up the old man. I said, man, give me a cup. I'll just have to ration it. It's like once a day.
That's what I was thinking too.
I thought he was going to say, I'll make do. I'll figure it out. I got 24 hours before I have to come back here. All right. Yeah. Listen, go take care of your family, whatever the case is. But a man didn't do that.
Yeah.
The place get attacked up, and now here's where Mark Verdarnen comes in.
Teach me.
All these styles of the man jumping around, fighting and taking off people and still holding. Cause I made sure a couple of times I realized, oh yeah, he's fighting. Wait, the man still got the cup in his hand?
Still got the cup.
The man still got a cup in his hand.
Never
I'm
dropped
like,
the cup.
oh, never drop a drop. And I'm like, I'm like, okay. So now we're
Shaolin
seeing
stuff, man.
this is what we're talking about. So this is where I'm seeing that man at arms. Again, we understand.
Sorry,
And
before
time
you
has passed.
keep in
Go
mind,
ahead.
he has no weapons.
And thank
Man
you.
at arms has no
Yes.
weapons, no
man-
armor,
No arms.
no armor,
Man-
no weapons. He's there in his trousers, his shirt, and his
Hoodie.
cape, with a hood, with his hoodie, and a cup. That's it. That's all.
That's all he got.
And armed soldiers came in from Triclops with a ship with a cannon on it.
Yep.
And those troops, cyborg troops, started to attack. No weapons,
None.
one-handed, holding the
One-handed.
cup.
Holding a piece of cup. And the man defeated people. Anybody who came within, basically anybody who came within arm reach, lost an arm. They got dashed. They got
kind of
that
a scenario.
They got pelt.
Right, it's a scenario where you see a bar fight break out, and you look at that one guy who know can take out half the people in the bar.
Stay
And
away
he,
from
and,
him.
and he, the fight breaks out, and you expect the guy to turn around and have a drink in his hand, and he'll look at his friend, and you see someone go flying across, and you're like, hold
That's
my
it.
beer.
Listen, that's
Duncan
it.
didn't do that. Duncan said, oh, never mind. I got this, and held his own beer, so to speak.
Listen, it's one of those things like a bar fight, but when you see everybody routing around like 48 hours, everybody's running around, but you see the one guy who's just still at the bar and realizing he ain't moving to avoid getting pushed up or anything, like saying, he's the man to worry about the most. He's the man to worry about the most. So I, for one, was loving that we're seeing that particular fight scene, because
Right.
I'm trying to think up to that point,
Mhm.
there were fight scenes, whatever the case to be. But
Yeah.
now we're getting to the tactical side of fighting techniques. The man is having to fight, throw people over, taking an arm, twist it around, whatever the case to be,
Yeah.
and throwing. And he was doing, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't just like grab an arm, you say you draw it, or you say he grabbed an arm and dashed him over. What I saw grab an arm, turn his back, that's a bad arm for read. Technically, I'm really having pain in that one. So I'm flipping like this, and I'm thinking, oh, right in, take arm, flip, twist it to the back,
He
turn
detailed
myself, detail, right. That's where Marky B comes in. That's where Mark B comes in. Mark B comes in at that point, because when you hear Mark say these stories on the side of Fat Man, it's like,
that. Right.
you're like, man, just painting a good piece of picture for you. You're painting it out nicely. So I'm listening like, So there's another part later on. We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
But I saw that and I'm like, yeah, that's it. So he basically defeats everybody. who came in contact. Basically, that's the way to look at it. He basically defeated everybody who came in contact. At this time,
Right.
you start to see Andrea comes in. Andrea comes in, and she shouts out, "All right, I turned it off." So I like that you now remind everybody, because there was a statement in the first time you saw her. She says, Tila was saying that she's a inventor, or she's good with she's basically she's an inventor, or she's basically good with her hands. So now giving me the implying that, you know what, if Duncan is the creator and Man at Arms title, Tila will be the Man at Arms title, and her sidekick will be the Duncan with the creation and how to make stuff.
Right.
So I saw that. I'm like, okay, she's coming out. All right, I disabled this one. I'm like, okay, you someone to deal with. Okay, no problem. And then everybody jumping in and catching him, and caught up to him, and that was beautiful how he was apologetic. No, I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm like, oh boy. But you could tell he's been holding on him for 5 years.
Yeah.
Because he got banished, and he's like, said, I can't look in the direction of the kingdom, or I'm gonna lose up my 2 eyes.
Yep.
So I'm gonna juke me in my windpipe and kill me. And then at the same time, or just before I walk off, my daughter, I come out the road and make a right. My daughter made a left. And that was the last I see my daughter for 10 years, 10 years.
That's right.
He's been holding up in his back pocket for a long time. I see you.
Yep.
Sorry.
He's gonna have to let that out. He's gonna have to let it go, because it's been so long that he hasn't had a chance to deal with any of that.
Completely.
He hasn't had a chance. No chance whatsoever. I mean, what can he honestly say, right? So he's been holding out. So as soon as he got the chance, he's going to turn around and start talking to her about that and getting that out there. So, he finally get that out there. Of course, Eva Lynn's there. She kind of cuts the family drama. Once again, Duncan's about to say, hey, she's like, okay, Dad.
That was another thing. Yes.
It's like, okay, you know what? No more secrets. I get that. No problem. I understand. Da-da-da-da.
Let me tell you one more thing.
Let me tell you one more thing. And right away, Eva Lynn's like, no, we don't have any more time for family drama. So it makes me suspect that Eva Lynn even realizes that Tila has to be the daughter of the sorceress. Unless they're going to do a total misdirect on that. Because every time someone goes to tell Tila, Tila either stops him or someone else stops him or something happens that one line never gets out. So I don't know if they're just come out and say, okay, you're the daughter of the sorceress, and then see how the show wraps up, or if it's gonna be something totally misdirect. That I don't know, but I'm assuming that's what they're trying to tell her.
It's a holdout again. I'm looking at it that we're being realistic with this particular show. We're being upfront. We're trying to move at a faster pace. So these are questions we're trying to answer. We're trying to answer questions from the original series.
Yes.
So they've been answering questions. This has been a question that has been on many people's minds for life. So you're expecting for someone to at least announce it. So at least they gave us now 2 opportunities. They didn't answer it. But you brought it so close to the forefront that now it's only us as the viewers who know. I bet you that was the question. The question was going to come right there. The question was coming right there. The question was right.
They're about to let it out.
Happy trails are again. These people just mess me up. You know what? You're getting vexed, turning over tables. But we're getting close. So I think now that we know it's going to happen we know it's coming. So it's going to be the reveal. The reveal is going to. I'm wondering.
Season finale.
Yeah.
Not the season. I mean, like the next episode. The next batch of episodes are going to come out. If he's only doing 2 parts, kind of thing to it, 6 episodes each. I think the reveal comes out in the next.
It's 5. It's 5 parts actually. I mean, it's 5 episodes. 5 episodes. 5 episodes. There's part 1. Yeah, I don't know how many parts they're doing, but this is 5 episodes, not 6. There's 5 episodes for this one. This one has 5 episodes. 6? No, it's only 5. It's only 5.
All right, my bad. So that's what I'm saying. The next part, I don't know exactly how many parts he's doing, but if he's only doing, I'm not sure if he's doing only 1 more part, but if he is, or 3 parts, I don't know. So I'd have to look it up. I'm sure people are already going to chime in and say, yeah, there's so many parts he's doing, but I should know. All right, well, I don't know. Sorry, but thanks for letting me know.
Yeah.
No, I really want to know, but at one point it's going to be something big, right?
Oh, for sure. I'm trying to roll the dice of who's going to say, because I'm not wondering, like you're saying, that for one. Was it Sources was gonna say it.
Yep.
She got knocked out.
Yep.
Duncan was gonna say it.
Yep.
He got knocked out.
Yep.
Now, am I going to expect Orko to say it? Cringer? I personally feel maybe Adam. Maybe Adam will be the one to drop this bomb on her chest, and he'll be able to say it. Unless you're going to go back to one of them, or both Sorceress and Duncan's going to be at the same place at the same time, where all three of them, and then say, "Oh yeah, let me hold your hands. We got something to tell you."
Yeah, and I think
it could be that. It's either they're going to hit them back at the same time, or it might be Adam.
Well, I think, and I mean, I know I'm jumping a little bit ahead. Due to circumstances, there's going to be a situation where
I'm not trying to reveal all that, but I hear it saying.
Yeah, Adam's going to need some kind of assistance, and it's giving away, he's going to need some kind of assistance, and the two of them are going to be there saying, well, we need to draw on X amount of magic, I only have X amount of me, I need someone that's going to do it. And Tila's going to like, okay, well, where do we get that person from?
Right. Again, and that's what I'm saying, that someone's going to say it. It might be the two of them say it at the same time.
And that's where they're all going to be around at the same time to say it.
Right. And right then say, baby girl,
get your wings and fly.
We need to talk. So we can come to that. So basically, this happens. We now meet up with Duncan.
Yeah.
Apologetic, whatever the case to be. And I can't remember. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we see some of the other people show up at this point, right? So now this is the first time we see Orko come back.
No. Well, we just before that. I'm just saying about the why. Why do you need to take this magic home?
Oh,
I need to take this for a friend. I need to take this for a friend. So it's important that I need to get this back home as soon as possible.
Right.
We'll talk. Come with me type of scenario. I just need to get back home. And when you get back home, you see that he's basically providing this magical elixir for Orko.
Yes,
I was like, Orko. Okay. The team's coming together, people. The team
like when a plan comes together.
I'm telling you. So that was good. So yeah, go on.
Yeah, so we see Orko come back. We see the state that Orko is in because of the lack of magic. Evelyn goes into saying that there's no more magic in Eternia, what has happened to everybody else. And then let's jump back for half a second. The episode before, whatever little bit of magic was still left was given to, Evelyn to carry on for this quest, so to speak, right? So this is why they're on to try to get this redone. So, no one has, so Oracle being a magical creature has no magic to draw from. So it's essentially he's dying. Right. And then we see the creation, Roboto, that was created by Man at Arms. Who has Man at Arms Duncan's memories from a certain age back, and he's still there. And I'm like, and serving them. So I'm like, this is nice how you're introducing it and how certain characters are with certain characters. It makes sense. I see the dynamic. It makes sense to me. I'm all for that. So, it shows you how, okay, we got to go forward. This is the plan. And they finally come up with a plan saying, well, we needed someone to forge, the swords when we get them back. And a master forger, which is you. And Duncan saying, well, I'm not supposed to do that. I'm out. I'm out. I even so much as touch any of that, I get executed. I've already been exiled. I've lost everything else. I've lost you, Tila.
I took up my eyes.
Right. But they had a heart to heart. They seemed to come to understanding, and it was slowly coming together. It wasn't like over, okay, everything's back to normal. It wasn't even a hug. It was more of a handshake in that episode with the two of them. So now they come up with a plan to go forward. They say, okay, this is what we're going to do and go about it. So they agree that the Roboto is going to go with Tila and the rest of the ragtag posse, the Rat Pack there. And Duncan's going to go back to Castle Grayskull, even though it would get him executed, to go back there and defend the sorceress because she's really weak, in case Triceratops doesn't attack.
Right.
So that's what it comes down to. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Works. I got it.
Yep.
Case closed. And then it kind of goes into the next plan of getting into the episode of episode 4, where they have to go and track down the swords.
Well, so right. Well, that's it. But episode 3, they're still searching for the sword. They're still searching for the sword and everything like that. So this is where they get to let's see now. So they do a quick memory, And this is where I'm going back to Mark and his writing skills, because this is when I go back to a memory when it was Skeletor and them out in the sea with Merman, and they basically had He-Man and Teela captured, and they were gonna basically gonna drown you out. And you was saying, Merman saying, yeah. So when you hit that with that portion where you're gonna convulse and your ear die out, just remember, it was me, Merman. I'm the one to kill you.
Yeah, because he told Evil Lynn straight. He's like, you know what? You after Skeletor was gone, you could have taken over. We could have been ruling all of Eternia. I would have controlled all the sea. You could have controlled the land. We would have had Eternia under our thumb, but you didn't want to.
And so that's a perfect aspect of it. So why I was liking as a quick note, Merman was voiced by Kevin Conroy. That part that could blind me in my
That's
chest.
right, Mr.
Like,
Batman himself. My family got me a cool cameo by Kevin Conroy for my birthday. Oh my God, I got a motivational speech from Batman. How cool is that?
That's kept videotape, put down every 5 years. You find new media and you keep transferring it up, man. You're going
I'm not
from
losing that.
cassette to DVD to bird pigeon. I don't know. Somehow etch that into the wall, put on a hard drive, put on a new hard drive, put on a thumb drive, put on an SSD, put on anything. Every few years, just keep updating. You got to keep that.
I'm not losing that, man. I would cry. I would no. I got a motivational speech from Batman. You're damn right. This is why I'm here. Thank you, Kevin.
No problem. So my thing was with the Mark part of it again is now we see the writing again of the power of Mark Bernardin. So in the flashback.
So I'm doing my research at the same time you talking, man.
No worries. So on the flashback, you see that Merman had his henchmen grab He-Man and Teela, dash them in the water, take them down about like 50 feet, boys. Drown them out. That's all I'm asking. So they do that. They jump in the water. Hold your breath. You're going in, and you're gonna convulse. But all then you see under the water, all you see is something coming towards them. Then you see it's Man-at-Arms basically doing an underwater scuba attack, coming in and just rolling in, whatever, and then pew pew, just dash out people, kick out. He-Man had his arms in type of handcuffs behind. Precision. The man is, you gotta think of it. The man is falling down like this. This man is driving in like this.
Right.
Pew pew to catch. To hit exactly on the buckle, on the handcuff, to explode it and break it open. Bam. Precision typing, precision writing, no problem. Here's my best part. They now come back surface. Duncan comes, grab them both, and then power jet them up. They jump out of the water, land on the deck of the ship that was Merman.
Right.
Then this is all Mark Bernardin. This is tactical. All is like He-Man fighting, Teela's fighting. But Man-at-Arms taking down like 3 to 5 to 7 people. And he's taking his clamp, like extending grappling hook, grabbing.
Yes.
And then doing some certain flips. And then he's just doing all like Shaolin type of tactics. And I'm like,
non-stop.
Stop it.
My favorite move is when Merman grabs him and throws Duncan off the boat, and Duncan very calmly turns around does a twist in mid-air, shoots the claw. Son. The claw pulls him back towards Merman, and he kicks him in the head. And then another guy goes to get him. He goes, fights one guy, grabs the arm, twists behind him, takes the claw, pulls the claw, starts pulling the guy towards him, and then kicks the guy who was in front of him into him, so they bump their heads together. Like
that's technical writing right there. That's what I'm like saying. Like, I saw that. I'm like, okay, Mark. Okay. I'm just telling you, that was precise fighting tactical skills, and you're just showing that the skill work that Man-at-Arms had. We saw it in the opening sequence of this episode. We see this in his memory. You're just showing that this is the reason why he was the captain of the guard at the time. This is the reason why he was the leader. This is why he was a great tactician. This is where he was a great fighter, Man-at-Arms. He had to know how to fight. He just had to be able to arm himself in the fight. He's a Man-at-Arms. He's just like, his arm's ready. He's ready.
Absolutely.
He's ready for everything. So I was like, yeah,
absolutely.
Okay.
The last time I seen such detailed stuff like that in a serious show, I mean, I watched the fight scenes in, let's say, Family Guy, where it's Peter versus the chicken, and I said this before.
That's always been that. That's always been that.
Right. Those ones are really detailed fights and how they go on, even though it's over the top. The last time I read something like this, it was what's his name? Sylvel. Oh my god, the Forgotten Realms series with Dritz. The author of that series, he writes the fight scenes just like that. If you look at the, with Brunar, Dritz, the Drow, the Dark Elf, R.A. Sylvestri. If you look at those, I know I'm mispronouncing the name, forgive me. But yeah, you read Forgotten Realms and you read any of the books with Dritz, the Crystal Shard and anything else along those lines.
Dritz! You said, as soon as you said Dritz, yeah, it didn't click in. Yes. Oh my gosh.
You read those books, he does a detailed telling of how the fights break down when they're encountering the monsters, fighting other people, the swords fight. So when it's Dritz versus Armithis, the assassin thief there, and they get into their sword fights.
It's to me, it gives me the image of understanding dark elf fighting skills. Listen, that's a good parody. That's a good one. Definitely, that's a deep cut. Because I remember reading those books as well. And probably got a couple from you, and that's probably the reason why I fell into Dritz. But
yeah,
that was where it was like, oh my goodness, I couldn't read. I'm like, yo, I can visualize people getting their head knock off, and it's like, it makes sense.
The foot placement, how he does the arms, the twist, the pivots, how he explains all that, the body rolls. Oh, come on, man, that's
close. I will say you have yours. My other parody that I would say is in anime and everything, cartoons, is Young Justice. Whenever you're seeing Nightwing, Dick Grayson fight, there is tactical acts. Because again, you're letting us understand that he can fight. Arsenal, when it was the episode when it was Arsenal, like the three clones, and Dick was doing that.
They had their and they had
the security guard. The security guard. Yo, that was again good tactical. At least the drawing aspect.
Like Strongbow security or something like that. Right. Yeah.
Strongbow security, exactly. But that's it. So those are a few that you can see as prime examples. So again, the writing in this one was good. It was drawn out properly. I can
good pacing.
Good pacing. You can visualize everything like that. So I mean, let's not. We're gonna end off with this one. We're gonna definitely do the other two later on.
Okay.
Come back and do that one. But
Sounds
this
good.
one, we're not ending it right now. But we're just gonna finish this episode. So with this episode right now, at this point, they're on their way to the hell. Basically, they're on their way to hell.
Yeah.
To retrieve it, and they're going through different. We'll jump a couple of parts, whatever the case would be, of where they were. They basically they came down together into hell, basically, quote unquote hell. And they got not separated. They were probably close to each other, but they were basically in their own little vision. Like they were in
their own personal hells. Yeah. So they went into the realm, but then they got wrapped up in their own
personal hells.
Yeah. Their fears got personified. So even though they're standing right beside each other, they don't even realize they're that close because it just seems like they all got separated, and they have to deal with their biggest fears or and it's just personified at that moment.
Right. And this is beautiful that it was Andrea and Roberto, Orko and Evelyn, and Tila was by herself.
Yeah.
So Roberto and Andrea, I can't fully remember how. I know they defeated. But
Beastman was there too.
Oh, sorry, Beastman was in that one too.
Yes, Beastman, because he was already on the boat. So yeah, Beastman was there. Right. So it was the three of them. So it was like 3, 2, and 1.
Right. So they defeated theirs. Orko and Evelyn, they defeated, being feared of people from or
the shadow
someone
beings.
from shadow beings, basically from Orko's world, basically.
Yes, yeah.
That was that. But it's the reason why I want to say everybody was defeating their own fears. It was the last fear that with Tila that was very specific, and it was great that we're trying to figure out what her fear is. And then when they realized your fear was He-Man leaving you, they realized, no, your fear is yourself. And the fear turned into that. But when she defeated and she accepted, that was a great thing. She accepted fear and realized she could build off of it. If you remember, I think that was the episode where she was starting to glow.
Yes. And this ring of energy came out from her.
And I'm like, all right.
What I see here.
But boy, I see something. I'm wondering which daughter. I wonder which daughter who does that. But we ain't saying nothing. I ain't saying nothing, but I was wondering who does. So again, it was perfect that it's giving us now the confirmation that this information will be revealed in this show at some point.
Yeah.
So now those questions that we've been getting so close to hearing,
Right.
it's going to be revealed sometime. Now it's happening. It's going to happen. So that was perfect. They defeated. Everybody came together. But then the great thing, too, as a side note, when they were getting closer to this realm,
Yeah.
Orko was getting better. He was getting a little bit stronger because, again, he was being depleted of Eternia magic.
Yeah, I think it's two things: depleted with Eternia magic, and second of all, he was finding confidence in himself because you find out Orko's true name, right?
Yeah.
You know, Orko, as we know, we always call him as Orko. When he said he was born, and it's true, when he was born, he was a young kid, and his parents had high hopes for him, so they gave him a name. But because he was so young, he couldn't say the name, so he always said Orko. And then when he started growing up and he was just kind of bad at magic, where other people were able to do spells that he should have been able to do at the same age and he wasn't catching on, they just said, okay, yeah, your name's Orko. They never gave him his true name. And it was Evelyn that turned around and said, oh, so your name is Oracle. He was supposed to be named after like a high, you know, Oracle is someone high up. You know, it's like naming someone today something you hope them to be, right? So it's like, you know, give him that name as a prestige for you to have confidence to grow into it. And because he never grew into it, he used this comedy. Since he seemed himself as a joke anyways, because he couldn't do well, he just played more up as the jokester, as trying to be serious. And he finally started kind of, maybe things started to click with him. And he started really casting those spells. So magic being back, started to get a little bit of confidence because he finally opened up. He's never told anybody that aspect about himself. Maybe he, on camera, maybe off camera, he told that to Adam, you know, and Adam probably would have known. Maybe he would have done that with Cringer, right? Maybe he might have even said it to the sorceress, because I know he used to have conversations a lot of times with the sorceress. So maybe the sorceress would have known his true name. Maybe Cringer would have known his true name. Adam, I'm not sure, right? Because Adam, if he knew his true name, would have probably called him his true name. So I don't know about Adam, but I believe maybe Cringer and the sorceress would have known his true name. So when he got that little bit of confidence and that boost of magic, you saw how dangerous he could be.
Yes. And that was, it was great that we saw Orko in a different light. We saw him as a confident person, and
you saw him in his real feelings. He wasn't trying to be the goof.
Yeah.
He had a real conversation. He wasn't trying to be the court jester. He really was like, look, this is who I am. This is how I am. This is how my family looked at me. He expressed about his family and you know, having disappointment with it because they had disappointment in him. It was deep.
Yeah, it was deep. Listen,
wow. So I got to say, man.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we can go on. I just realized we actually went into the fourth one. We touched into the fourth one. I just realized I touched into the fourth one. But the fourth one is the Land of the Dead.
Oh, my bad. Okay, so
no. Yeah. That was me. I think I went into that and I didn't realize that I jumped into there.
That's okay. So we gonna leave the last one for another time, and we're gonna go into it, and then we're gonna cut this one off here. We're gonna go into the last one.
We'll come back and do 4. We'll come back and forth. We didn't finish 4.
We didn't finish 4. So we'll come back. We'll finish 4. We'll do 5
4 again,
and then we'll go into our personal thoughts and what more we want to see from this. So clearly, you can see we're more team yay than team nay. We're team yay for this. Yeah. On that note, this here is Barry 3D, and I'm here with.
This is Rod C.
What? And this is the Iconis Podcast. And remember, this whole world we talk about started with a pencil, a piece of paper, and imagination. Keep on dreaming. And may the power be with you.
By the power of...
Was it grounded?
Wasn't grounded. I shock up myself. God, I am pinned. Oh, gosh.
Wow.